Sidewalk Committee here, September 12th, 2023. In attendance is Paul Grady, Jay Pampari, Brian Joyce, Julie Rollins, Bob Mulhall, and Tori Hanna. The only person missing is Frank Cicchetti. So let's skip right to the agenda, the minutes of September 7th. I don't know if we've seen them or not, but let's skip right over that and get right to the 5-year plan. So Frank, so just let me take a step back. Tonight there is a select board meeting at I think the sidewalk committee is on the agenda for about 7:15 for an update. It's part of the big ask of the not to be confused with the ballparks, et cetera, and everything else, but it's part of that whole initiative where the select board is going to be asking for additional money and additional funds. So in support of that, they have asked us to put together this plan, which we have been kind of working on for a little bit now. And thank you, Julie. That takes the weight off me. And so this plan was I think Frank sent this out on Friday, and hopefully it incorporates, everyone has had a chance to look at this. Really all I wanted to do today, and if you could blow that up a little bit more, Julie, please, is to really go through this. And I know, Brian, you're going to be critical here as far as trying to update this, and maybe we can actually do it on the fly. Brian, I think some of it is fairly short and sweet, that you probably have that information readily available, and if not, but what I would like to do is go through this, and maybe it's my screen, or Julie, if you could blow that up a little bit more.
Sorry, I'm trying.
Yeah, no problem.
I can read it if you want to go through the items that are highlighted or open questions.
Yeah, so that's where it is. And again, the goal would be to.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Julie.
I just wanted to interrupt and say thank you so much to Brian for sending me this. I just popped it in, and I really appreciate that, Brian, and we'll work this into this part here so that it's not repetitive. It's like more succinct. But I just wanted to thank Brian for that information last night. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So, I mean, do you want to go through, paragraph by paragraph and
yeah,
open
let's
questions?
do that. I'm still I need a telescope to look at this. So I apologize with my old man eyes.
Yeah, excuse me if everyone's looking at up my consoles here, because I have to.
So again, the goal would be to finalize this in the next hour or so, or if we don't finalize it now, if there's a missing piece and a number that has to be searched for, to try and get this out by or finalize it by say 2:30 or so. And then I need to send this to the entire select board so that they can review it, take a peek at it. Even if it's 4:00 this afternoon, it's totally fine. If they can review it and look back at that, then they will. You want me to share, Julie?
What I thought I'd do is just close out and then try to reshare it.
I don't know if it's going to be any easier.
It might maybe you could share if you don't mind, Jay, so that you can make a nice big. I'm sorry.
See if it looks any better. Just close that out, and then I'll share my screen.
So here we go. Thank you.
All right, let me see here. Is that any better?
I can see it well.
I can see it. I can just pull it. I can pinch it up on my phone, but I can pinch it up and I can read it.
Yeah. Carol, if you could elevate Frank to a panel.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So I don't know if this helps.
I tried that.
Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, let's, here we go. How's that? Any better?
Very good.
All right. Okay. So here we are, the sidewalk safety and connectivity meeting. The first paragraph is pretty much just a quick overview of what we've done. There were no outstanding questions there. The next question there, so the yellow here, to date, just X amount per year is allocated from the town's budget. Brian, again, any numbers on that?
Yeah, so I mean,
historically, even say approximately.
approximately 300,000. So, and that's from the town's budget. In addition to that, we have chapter 90 roughly in the amount of 200 to 210. But if you just want to say town's budget, I would say 300,000 is
Okay.
actually per year.
Let's
All right.
keep it at that,
Yeah.
Jay. Let's keep
Gotcha.
the other stuff. Brian, I suggest that we leave the other stuff aside because we'll always still get it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the state is based on whatever the state budget is, and it's generally
Yeah.
about the 200.
Just don't want to look
Okay,
like
so
we're
the
low.
cost to annually maintain roadways is,
So we're getting into semantics where you're talking
Yep.
about operation of the road. So, repaving roadways annually is roughly, again, the paragraph that Julie put down below kind of gets into the details of this. Right now our paving schedule is every road should be paved every 20 years. We have 37 miles of road, so roughly just under 2 miles of road we should be doing per year. That costs in today's dollars just under $1 million. We've been spending about 500 to 600 per year.
so how does
On
that look? Again, let's not worry about the dollars and cents to the penny, but
Yeah,
cost to maintain, repaving, et cetera, roadways is approximately $1 million.
yeah, and again, just semantically, maintenance of the roadways includes like catch basin cleaning, sweeping, plowing, all that stuff. So I kind of don't want to use that verb. I would say the cost to annually resurface or something.
Oh, yeah,
Research.
not maintain, but do,
Shit,
Because-
what did I do there?
just
go,
hit the back.
reverse
Good.
that. Because maintenance includes, kind of everything but paving, and that would be a real deep dive into operation.
Yeah, that's too,
Resurface, how's that?
Yeah, that's much better.
Yep.
Okay. All right, and Julie, thanks so
Jay,
much
can
for.
we add? I'm sorry to interrupt, Jay. Can we add to do it correctly? Not that Brian's doing something incorrectly, but he doesn't have the money. So to do it,
right.
I'm just trying to think. What's a good word to properly maintain or something like that? Maintain and pave
Yeah, if
on a 20-year schedule.
if we could go down, and I don't know if you want to move some of the paragraphs below up front, because it kind of gives
Yes.
the background of, roads should be repaved, starting at roads should be repaved every 20 years. It gives you the background, and then that kind of dives into the financials of what we should be doing.
Perfect. Yeah. That's what we want to present tonight for sure.
Yeah.
What we're doing and what we should be doing and why we're asking for it. That's why.
Yes, exactly. Read.
I don't have my mouse, so I'm doing this with my fingers. Is that okay?
Yeah,
I left my
I'm
mouse
terrible. I need a mouse. I cannot do it with my fingers. It's just awful. You're doing
Okay, so there we are. We're playing catch up around here, blah, 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 while not in the roads the same. This is 1.85 miles of roadway would cost $925,000. This is only, okay. Add that to the approximately, is that the 1 million?
Right, and again, we're just talking rough costs because
Yep.
all sidewalks are different and roads are different. So it's, sidewalks, it's kind of counterintuitive, but sidewalks are almost double the cost per linear foot
Yep.
of a roadway. So
Okay.
roads are roughly 500K per mile and sidewalks are $1 million per mile. So if you were doing a mile of road, you're talking about roughly 1.5.
With sidewalk.
A mile
right,
of road with a mile of sidewalk continuous with it.
And if anybody else wants to edit this as I go, please do, because 2 people can
Jay,
also.
can I back you up for a sec? Can I back you up
Yep.
to the paragraph above it? You just scrolled. It's kind of buried now. On top, you have due to a lack of something. Wait a minute. Yeah, due to a lack of yearly funding.
Yeah, thanks.
Our
That's a
maintenance
good.
has had to be deferred on a rolling basis.
Yeah,
In
that's
order of
much better.
necessity or something like that. You
Yes.
see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because we haven't had
Yeah.
the funding, so it's due to lack of yearly funding. Our roads and sidewalks have been maintained as on
Oh,
a
yeah. Okay, not
priority
maintenance,
base.
funding.
I
Yes.
would get funded because we're basically looking for dough
Yep.
to do it right.
Yeah.
And
Show me the money.
if I could just, we don't need to put this in any of the narrative here, but just kind of background, if you're going to get into discussion tonight, Paul, is, the town had the Little Harbor Sewer Project about between 15 and 20 years ago. And that paved a great majority of the roads from the center, from the basically town hall all the way to, all the coastal roads up to, say, Linden Drive and Forest Ave. So that's in that project, we got a whole lot of roadway paved, and that's coming up to the 15, 20-year cycle. So I'm just saying we don't have any large capital projects like that looming unless we do a regional sewer, which doesn't look likely, where we're going to dig everything up and then repave everything. So the town was a beneficiary of all that paving, which is now getting to a point where it's getting old.
Okay. So you're basically what we're doing. We're saying correctly. You're kind of on a need to basis because that's all we have for money. And things are pushed down the road like South Main because of projects that may or may not happen.
Yeah.
But we've been waiting to find out if they are going to happen. Well, I think we're going to find out pretty soon.
All right, so thank you guys and everyone else. If anybody wants to kind of look at this and wordsmith this a little bit, by all means, that's it. So again, just kind of look at this and on your own for a few minutes and go through that. We jump down to the prioritization criteria. I think that's pretty set in stone. We've gone through that numerous times. I don't think we need to get into that. The road. I'll probably say if the road. And then this is, so I talked about funding sources. This was the money that was, so I'm sorry, I'm talking.
Yeah, just a small correction that the first, it says road work, it should be May instead of Matt in 2019.
I'm sorry, Brian, what?
Just the misspelling of May and the first, is the second budget line down.
Oh, Matt, yeah. Gotcha.
Sorry, I'm being nitpicky. I think everyone knows.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Nitpick away.
So, and then I just had a few additions below this. On the next page.
Right. And I think that's where we need a little bit of help. So there was a question about adding in 2022. Yeah. So again, when we are gonna attach the Excel spreadsheet, this is not that anything is written in stone. We're just trying to send a message to the select board so that they can send the message to the taxpayers that there's not enough money in the budget to do all the roads. So in the question, where do we list the roadways that were slated to pave in 2022? We'll circle back to that so that we can get those done. But I'll throw that to Brian and if he has an answer to that.
I mean, I think last year's in the past, I don't know if you want to get into it, but we did Sawyer Street and
yeah.
I don't know if you want to include that or just go forward with projects.
Just trying to go forward. But
Yes.
I think
The reason I added
That's right.
that, the reason I added that question was just for us to think about on that roadway paving timeline. There were a number of roads, well, at least one that I know about because I care about it, the Pond Street one that was slated for last year and it wasn't done. So I want to make sure if it was a priority in 2022, I want to make sure it's a priority in 2023 or 2024. And how do we make sure that happens? So that was my reason for putting that question in there. There may be other roads I didn't recognize. I only recognize my own because of personal interest, of course.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
No, I think that that's after we get through this little hurdle here and we start to talk to Brian at so let's say our October and November meetings,
Yeah.
when we hopefully go back to once a month, we say, okay, 2023 is over and done with now. What's on the slate for 2024, and let's make that roadway a priority.
Yeah, I think, and to
And we've got the
Julie's
money, so.
question, I think, the things, if they don't get done in 2022, they push forward to the next year. So
Oh, great. That's all I needed to know.
yeah,
They push forward. Okay.
it's, the list is fungible, if that's the
Yeah.
right word,
Oh,
it's.
great. Great.
Well,
Just wanted to
that's
make sure
the
they
thing
worked
that we
it out.
want to do, you guys, I think, is we want to have the funding, so we bump into 24. And Brian, some of these, we've discussed this, and we can come up with those in later meetings, is where we can prioritize. Like like Julie, I was just personalizing a little bit, like the sidewalk going from Pleasant to Ripley with a crosswalk, simple things like Beach Street painting, to at least a walking lane, something,
Yeah.
we can come up with those at later meetings, but
Right.
I think what Jay's putting together right now is once we get this over the finish line and the money's coming in, then I think we'll be in good shape to start doing that.
That's
sure.
exactly what I want to do, and I just wanted to not to keep pushing people off, but I just want to focus on this, and absolutely next month and the month after start talking about detailed projects on the calendar for 2024 with Brian here. Okay, so I just slated, these are the 3 projects. I didn't really have any other major comments to those. I don't know, Brian, if you did or didn't. Maybe at the end we can get an update on Elm
Yeah,
Street.
I would just add, so these are just TL Edwards costs. I would add 10,000 to each for police details, testing of pavement, and contingencies, broken. When you get,
Yeah.
sometimes you don't know about broken castings or things like that till you get out there. So we, I
Yeah.
just put
And again, these
10,000.
are all rough.
Yeah.
As I said, so the above mentioned sidewalks are approximately 1.0. I guess I'll go 0.47 million, which will absorb the funding of the blah blah blah.
Yeah, and that Elm Street one you had above, and there should be 753, not 710.
753. There we go. All right, I'm gonna have to get my high school calculator out now. 753. Can somebody add that up? What's 193 plus 753 plus 164?
Oh, do you have all these totaled?
Yeah. Well, I need to total them up just to show. 753 plus 193 plus 164 equals 1.1.
Hey Jay, there's a typo up if you scroll up. It says cushion too instead of Cushing.
Oh yeah, thank you. Cushing. So having said that, this brings it to 1.10 million, which will absorb, I would say, and exceed the 2023 funding of blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then again, let's not worry so much
That
about
kind of
these.
Yeah, but that helps with the funding, Jay, because we're using leftover funds
Yeah.
to get this all done. And that's only because I think, Brian, am I wrong? That was because of COVID or something along those lines?
Yeah, all these, the cash of funds we have right now have been kind of saved up for a couple of years. Yeah, so it's not a typical,
See,
we
that's
don't have a
a good
million.
plus.
just
It's a good selling point. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to get into too much detail here. I just wanted to throw it out there that there are other projects that are ongoing and they're funded by outside entities, just to give the select board a flavor of some other stuff. And so again, if there's any typos here or anything completely out of whack here, let me know.
Yeah.
But
So
Church Street
North Main Street was funded by the gas company.
Gas Company. Gotcha.
And then I would put Beechwood Street funded by gas/water company.
Beechwood, funded by gas/water company. Okay. And what about the Pond Street one there?
Pond Street is funded by the gas company as well.
All right, I did put in there a quick mention about the grants. I didn't put Elm Street in there because I didn't want to bring too much attention to it. The 5-year prioritization. Again, I'm going to attach the spreadsheet, but really pay no attention to the finer details of that right now. It's just to give them a little bit of a flavor of what we're working on, but by no means is that anything concrete. The select board is not going to even probably look at that. They're going to look at these numbers. And as I say, it's safe to say that 1 million is not enough to address the needs. And then this is where I need you, Brian. 1 mile of pavement, 1 mile of new pavement costs 1 million, correct?
I would say 1 mile of new pavement costs approximately $500,000. 1 mile of new sidewalks costs approximately 1 million.
Just for my knowledge, Brian, which one of those is including the curbing cost and which curbing is assumed?
The million would be the Cadillac version.
Okay.
Granite.
It's granite curbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's leave the Cadillac version in there.
Let's
Yeah.
leave that in there. Just leave it on its own.
Yeah, I
Okay,
mean,
so there are,
yeah, you're missing a zero on the 500,000.
gotcha. And so roadways we addressed every 20 years?
20?
I would say the roadway paving plan is to resurface every roadway every 20 years minimum. And again, we're just talking rough figures and rough averages because, North Main, South Main, the heavily traveled roads will obviously need something a little bit on a higher frequency where, dead end, lower traveled roads probably would be less. But on average, we're on a 20-year cycle of
Brian,
30,
can I interject
37
for a minute there?
Sorry, go ahead.
While you're on that sentence, can I interject? Due to current funding, resurfacing of roadways is, we make every attempt to resurface roadways every 20 years. I want to keep funding in there if we possibly can. That's the angle I'm leaning towards, if everyone agrees.
Yeah.
Because so we can step it up a bit, Jay.
Yeah, well, so I'm just trying to capture this. So there are 40 miles of public roadways in the town. So with this financial structure, at this current,
Yeah, it's actually 37 miles. And again, we don't need to write this, but we have 37 miles of public roadway. We have 13 miles of private roadway. We're not talking about any of the private roads.
I say resurfacing of roadways will be addressed every 20 years. What is the life expectancy on a roadway? Is that should we add something like while the life expectancy of a roadway is 10 to 15 years based on usage or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, so we have a 10-year guarantee on our roads, and then from years 10 to 20, we're prioritizing the their paving of it. So
I
again,
say approximately 15 years
yeah, that's fair.
based on usage. Vehicle usage.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's that. I don't need to get into the spreadsheet. Again, this was meant to be a quick and dirty. The select board just wanted a quick 2-pager, and we're at a 4-pager. But we probably get into a little more detail than we really needed to. I would like, if anybody, again, not to, and if you have 20 minutes of time or 10 minutes of time, would you mind just please, everybody has access to this document. Just go through, give it a quick little once over for any particular typo or missing a zero or missing something in there or something doesn't sound right. If maybe this sentence should be moved up to here or somewhere else. If we could do that in like the next half hour or so on your own, and then set like a maybe a 2 o'clock deadline, and then I will fire this off to the select board. Does that, everybody think that that's doable?
Yeah, Jay, are you able to send that as a PDF? Because I cannot get the Google Docs on this.
It'll be a final 1 or 2 o'clock, but yeah, I could.
Bob's got his
And
hand.
I'll fire it right back to you with an edit if I have one.
Yeah. Bob, go ahead.
I think you're muted, Bob.
Bob can't hear you.
Got it. I couldn't find the link in my inbox. Can we send it around again to that doc?
Yeah, Frank, would you mind sending that again?
Yeah, let me see which email I shared it to. Robert.mulhall@gmail.com.
Yeah,
you sent it Friday night at like 5 o'clock, Frank.
Yeah, I can just share it again. If that's the right email, I'll just send another link.
And if you could add Brian to that, I think Brian was left off. Thank you.
Yep, looks like he's on there now as a viewer. I'll change him to editor, so that should be good, Brian.
Yeah, I found this, Frank. Thanks.
Okay. Yep.
All right. So I know we're all on the call now, and hopefully I appreciate everybody's time. If we could just take the next 20 minutes or so, if you had 20 minutes of your time here, and again at 2 o'clock, wherever the spreadsheet is at that time, I will just set, that'll be at 2 o'clock will be the deadline final version. I'll send that off to the select board. Paul Grady is going to be our voice tonight. Thanks, Paul, for not volunteering but being asked to do that. So thank you. I'm going to be glued to a hospital bed, but I don't think that the Gene needs a heck of a lot. Just the support of this. So
I did volunteer, Jay.
Yeah. Thank you. I owe you one. But if anybody, I think it says 7:15 in the agenda, but I really think it's 8:15 on the agenda tonight. I think there was a typo somewhere. So if anybody is not doing anything at 8 o'clock and wants to listen to this in the background, I think the select board is going to vote to get this on the warrant, and the vote is the ask of $800,000 in addition to the 1 million. So I believe that the ask will be up to $1.8 million to annually fund roadways, based on, and again, supporting information from the Sidewalk and Safety Committee. All right, any questions?
Nope.
Oh,
Awesome.
Great work.
Hey,
Great work,
Brian, real quick, Brian, what's the update on Elm Street as far as the schedule?
Schedule looks like about 2 to 3 weeks out. They're going to come in and you'll see the milling machine, and
Okay.
We'll start then.
All right. Can we
So
talk?
we can say that, Brian. I'm sorry, Jay. We can safely say that tonight if I want to shoot my mouth off about.
I'd say,
what,
I'd say on or around October 1st.
Okay, thanks.
And Brian, can we talk a little bit more about the safety measures in place there regarding like the bike lane and the striping, et cetera, and the crosswalks?
Yeah, so we have, once Edward comes in and does all their work, the striping is a different contractor. We could,
Okay.
if we want to put sharrows, or if we want
Yes.
to,
Yeah.
obviously we have fog lines and center lines, but if we want to do sharrows or any of that, we can add it.
Yeah, we want to make sure we address the safety measures that the select board approved in front of the circle there. I guess we're calling it Cove Road, the triangle, et cetera, and address all those measures, because due to the vote of the no parking in those particular areas, et cetera. So yeah, I think, and we can certainly have a separate meeting, Ellen, and let's get that on our agenda for the next meeting here with the Sidewalk Committee to talk about those measures.
And just a note, so there's a crosswalk that's been added at the request of the town to the developer. The developer put it in next to Elm Court, and that's been a long-term request from some of the parents for that bus crossing there. Or
do you have a draft striping plan at all now for that area, or is it just with design as you go?
It's design, yeah, it's a field engineer. So once they get the crown out there, we know the center line, they measure it in the field and, they confirm it the night of painting. Make sure you get your 12-foot travel lanes and, or split the difference on what it is and have, the double yellow stripe down
Yeah.
the middle and then the 1-foot offset fog line.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, let's regroup and let's not forget about those safety measures in front of the triangle and all around that area.
Sure.
All right. I apologize. People are welcome to hang around, but I've got to jump back to the room.
No,
So-
I'm heading up to a meeting, so.
All right. So we'll stick with we're down to 22 minutes, fire drill, 22 minutes to finalize, review, and look at that document. Appreciate it. And 2 o'clock-ish, I'll blast that out to the rest of to the select board.
Great. Thanks, Jay.
Jay, again, if you can PDF that for me, then I can open it up.
All right. I'll do that now,
And
Paul.
I'll send it right back to you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, guys.
Yeah. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.